Get ready to get in the game. Stretch, strengthen, live, and thrive. You can be a winning athlete in the game of life. It's the Peel Appeal with author and corrective exercise specialist Matt Peel.
Hey, this is Matt Peel with the Peel Appeal podcast. How are you today? What's going on out there in your big, badass world? I hope you're having an amazing day. I'm about to make it even more amazing because we're going to talk a little bit about what we do on a daily basis. What are the patterns that we have? Are they good patterns? Are they not so good patterns? Do you even know that we got patterns going on in your life? Sometimes we do and sometimes we don't. But it's important to recognize how sometimes we are sabotaging ourselves with growth and our happiness. How can we change that? What are some things we can do to take responsibility and have a choice in this transformation? And with that, I'm going to have an amazing guest on today. She is an executive behavioral coach from New York, now in Florida, working with clients all over the country. She is the founder of Life in Bloom and Why. She's a behavioral transformation coach. And I want to bring in the amazing Debbie Longo. Debbie, how are you today? Welcome.
I'm doing very good. Thank you for having me on your show.
Oh, absolutely. I'm pretty excited for this because when we talk about behavioral change and our patterns that we do, a lot of times we don't even know that we're doing things within our patterns. So
Right.
Let's start off with that. Kind of shed some light on your experience on helping people acknowledge the patterns that they're doing, good, bad, and different. And is awareness the first step in really trying to make a change?
Yeah, so that's really a very good question. And I've been talking about this specific thing on the, past few podcasts that I've had. And that is very true, that if I'm not aware and I can't admit that there is something wrong or some kind of problem or some kind of issue, just a little thing, then I can't help you and nobody can help you. And truthfully, I'm not going to waste my time trying to convince you because that's not going to work. Now, they have a saying that everybody must hit bottom, okay? I don't want it to get to that point where the person is going bankrupt in their job or they're getting a divorce or, they're just not doing good, in their life in general. And when we get to that point, then they say, I need to do something. I need to fix this, right? It could be anything. It doesn't really matter. I'm just giving examples. It doesn't really matter what the problem or issue is or, something that they want to improve in their life. It has nothing to do with it because the behavior is what the issue is. And that's always going to be the underlying thing. And that's always going to be what I am going to want to admit, and I want to look at the very first thing, okay? And when that happens, that's going to change everything. So I don't want to change a little here and there because if that behavior stays the same, then I'm always going to go back to that original behavior. So it really doesn't matter what it is, but I have to be able to be aware and create some type of willingness. And if I don't do that, then not only can and nobody help me, but what's going to happen? What's going to happen to me? Anything
Right.
could pretty much happen. And then, you're going to have one thing turn into another. It's just going to be a big snowball, and you don't want that because it could be life, your job. It could be any part of your life at all. It's just going to completely turn into a disaster. And just turn the TV on. And this is the reason why all of these things are happening, I don't have to go beyond that because we don't take care of ourselves, whether it has to do with fitness or behavior or anything. It doesn't matter what it is. We just don't maintain a healthy enough lifestyle because our mind controls everything. It controls our body, it determines what we eat, it controls the way we walk, all of these different things, right? The way that we act, right? And when we change, and there's also statistics that it stops it prevents diseases and different things like that. I'm not a doctor, but you can look it up. Okay,
Right.
there's real life statistics on this, and when we can see this and we could change the behavior, then everything around us is going to change, because it's only about perception. That's all it is. So when my kids are yelling and screaming one day, that's a problem. I get upset. But the next day, oh, my perception changed. I feel great. Oh, then now it's fine that they're yelling at each other. It's no problems at all.
So if we're not aware, right? It's like you can't see the forest from the trees sometimes, or all your friends are around you, or your family is around you, and they notice behavior that you're doing, the same pitfall that you're falling in every day, and you can't see the trap that you lay for yourself, and then you step in that same hole every day, and then you wonder, well, why the hell did this happen? Why am I doing the same thing every day? But denying, well, denial is a word, but you're just not seeing it. So how can someone become aware that I'm stepping in the same hole intentionally, voluntarily, every single day, and not do that?
Well, maybe they should listen to the people around them, because I'm pretty sure that if a husband has a wife, or they're at their job, or whatever it is, the person that's involved in that situation, of the person that needs help and the person wants to change, there are other people that are in their life are most likely 9 times out of 10 going to tell them pretty much directly what is bothering them. Okay, what you are doing this to me, because people like to point the finger, right? But we're just giving one example of this person is the person that wants to be helped. This person needs to change their behavior. Well, people are telling this person directly. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this is. I'm pretty sure 9 times
Right.
out of 10, this
Right.
is not something you got to like figure out. You don't
Yeah.
need like a degree.
Yes.
So people are telling them directly, you're mean to me, you're nasty, you're yelling, you're obnoxious, right? All these different things. And these things, once we start doing it once or twice or 3 times, then we get used to doing it. So if somebody's mean to you one time and then you stop, is that going to bother them?
No.
But if
Right.
somebody's mean to you every single day for a year, and like just shoots out like these really like, mean and hurtful comments and stuff for a whole year, do you think that's going to bother them?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
So
right.
how can that person who is saying the mean comments, right? If
Right.
they're not acknowledging, or it's not clicking in their head,
Right.
even though they're being told, or even if it does click in their head, okay, but I'm still being mean, even though at the end of the day, or at the beginning of the day, I say, oh, I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be mean. I'm going to do different. But guess what? You're still the same asshole.
Right.
Then, I mean, how can
Right.
someone change that behavior?
So, right. So if they're aware and people are telling them and they want to admit it and they want to say, these people are telling me and I really can see it. Okay, I'm really aware. I might not be able to see it, but I'm aware because they're telling me, right? I don't have to really agree. Okay, it's just a matter of them telling me and I believe it. I'm not ignoring it. I'm not denying it, right? So what's going to happen then? Well, they're going to need somebody to help them,
Right.
because they can't do it themselves. They can't just stop. It's not like that, because they have worked for a long time to make that behavior that way, because we're not born this way. So we turn it, what's called learned behavior, right? There's unlearned behavior too, but it's called learned behavior. I'm not a psychologist, okay? So I do things that are a little bit different than that. So if we can see that, then we worked for years and years and years to create this learned behavior.
Yes.
Okay, so we just don't say, oh, it's gone in a few months, it's gone. Not even a professional is going to accomplish that. Not with something, if you've done this for 10, 20 years. It also depends on how much baggage you have. That's another thing, too. When I work with somebody, I mean, I do a whole evaluation thing for them. But, when I work with somebody, this is one thing that I look at, is how much baggage they have. How many years have they been doing this? How many years have they been helping? I mean, have they been hurting people? And doing things to people where they're affecting, or everybody around them. And this is the stuff that I want to really look at, but they need to have a professional help them. Okay, that's really I mean, I'm a coach, obviously, so,
Right.
I'm going to promote myself, right? But because to me, that's the best thing to do. I mean, they could go to therapy. There's a lot of things that they could do. They could use religion. I mean, there's tons of stuff, that people do. But what I teach is something completely different than mostly everybody and most coaches. And I would be very surprised if you found a coach that does exactly what I do and teach it the way that I teach it. I would be very surprised. And the bottom line is that once we could do that, because it's just about admitting and willingness and all the stuff we're talking about, right? So once I can do that, then I can go really far and really gain, happiness, or meet my goals and dreams, or, whatever I want to do. And that's going to be the most important thing to me, because things don't hold me back. Life doesn't hold me back. I hold myself back. I create
Yes.
my own problems. Okay.
Yes.
And I could easily, somebody says, you're nasty to me. I could say, oh, you're nasty to me. Right. And I could just put it right back on them. That's the easiest thing to do, but that's not the healthy thing. That's just going to keep you acting on the same behavior again. And then the next person's going to say, oh, you're nasty to me. And then I'm going to say, oh, that's because I'm nasty. That's because you're nasty to me. I'm going to say that,
So
and
how can someone, let's say, they take a first step? So again, besides being nasty or eating bad, or procrastinating, not showing up to the gym, and I don't have a professional coach to help me out on this, but I know this behavior pattern is harmful because I'm getting this feedback from my friends, from my family, from my coworkers. I know something's got to happen. I don't want to step again this pitfall tomorrow. What could I do tonight, for example, so that tomorrow morning I don't step in that pitfall? Or maybe I think about, hey, I don't want to do that today. So how can I not step in that pitfall today?
so there's no guarantee that that's going to happen, but because it depends on a lot of things. But one thing you could do is write down all of the things at night. You would write down all of the things that happen during the day and think about what was negative in your life. Okay, all the negative things that you did that day. And then the next day, you would turn them into a positive. So you would purposely do, if you're not doing those things, if you are, that's fine. But if you're not doing those things, you could maybe purposely try to do those things just so you could turn them into a positive. But just pick one thing. Okay, you
Same.
could write everything down, and then you could say, pick the easiest thing, Oh, I didn't go to the gym today, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, that's a negative because I go to the gym every day. So because I didn't go, that's a negative. Okay, so I'll go to the gym today. So just pick one thing, all right, and start doing that, because my habit of not going to the gym is going to get, pretty quickly.
Right. Yeah.
It's going to get
it
into,
goes
I don't
quick.
go to the,
Exactly.
right, exactly, right? And that's just with anything, right? And like I said, you can pick any, you could pick any example you want, and we could talk about any example, it doesn't matter.
Correct.
So you could take one negative thing and say, I'm going to do this I'm going to turn this into a positive, and I'm going to do this positive thing. And that's a quick fix. But here's the thing, that's not a permanent fix. So what I teach is a permanent fix. And I'm going to show you, we're going to make a plan and an outline, and we're going to do some consultations, all these different things. I'm going to give you forms and stuff to fill out, and then I'm going to make the whole plan for you, and I'm going to give it to you, and all of that is free. And then you're going to look at everything, and you're going to make the determination, do you want to start this? Do you want to do it or not? Okay,
Yeah.
and that's it. That's my follow through and everything. And that is all the information for you. Now, they can't do anything with that information. They're going to think they can. They're going to say, oh, yeah, this is a lot of stuff. I mean, they could look stuff up on the internet, and they could see people talk about all these different things or whatever, and that's fine. But that's not going to, that might fix it. It might solve it for one day, and that goes for anything, because when I change my behavior, there has to be a whole plan involved. So how do you get from A to Z? Well, there's 25 letters in between,
Correct.
or 30 letters in between, whatever. Okay. And that's the reason you just don't go from A to Z, so
You got to connect the dots in between.
right.
Like I said,
Exactly.
you don't just look at the paper, draw a line. If you're talking like the dot to dots, right? Like we used to do in these activity books that these kids don't know any idea about because
Right.
they're all on the different online. So insane. We went on field, we got card trips. Here's your book of mazes, dot to dot, coloring, and word shuffles around, right? So yes, leading ourselves. So yeah, I get it. So connecting dots, and one dot can lead to another. I agree, can lead to another, to a positive change. And some of the things I talk about as far as changing habits, right? Because in the end, this talking about it is a habit, right? Creating a new habit, which also builds with neural pathways in your brain, which also can help with exercise and things like that for neuroplasticity. Right? You'll put on your shoes, right? One of the things I talk about with some clients are getting started into exercise. Like, hey, just put your shoes on, right? Just put your shoes on. If you can put your shoes on first and then build on that. Okay, put my shoes on. Now I'm just going to step outside and walk to the mailbox and back. Maybe I do that 3 or 4 times. Whatever it is, but build a positive action into just not the thought process, but build a positive action that's going to want me to say, okay, well, you know what? Hey, I've walked to the mailbox. I can get around this block. It's not going to kill me. So now I get around this block. And now I'm building literally blocks upon new blocks and connect those dots all the way to Z or double Z, whatever it may be.
Yeah, agreed. And the thought has to turn into an action. So I
Yeah.
can't just have the action. First it's a thought, and then it's the action. So if I have a thought and it doesn't turn into an action, then it's just a thought, right?
Right.
It's not, you're not going
We
to
have to
follow
act.
through.
Right.
Right,
We have to
exactly.
act.
Right.
And everything we do, whether it's changing being from mean to a nice person, to exercising, to wanting a meal plan, to wanting to just say, I'm not going to watch an hour of TV tonight, right? I'm going to try to read. Whatever it is, you're right. You have to take the action. If not, we can think all the thoughts we want, but this stays the status quo. So, Debbie, I think this is some awesome stuff that people are learning and we're sharing. At the end, we talk about your responsibility, rebuilding right after the challenges that we all have gone through. So you talked about the your consultation. So how can people schedule a consultation with you? Where can they go and get that information?
Right. So I have a website. It's DebbieLongo.com, DebbieLongo.com. And all the information is on there. I have an email, I have a contact form. So that's a very easy way for them to get in touch with me. I also have LinkedIn, social media, Facebook, Instagram. I have 2 podcasts, and the Behavioral Profit Show and the Internal Shift Show. And they can, apply to be a guest on there if they want. I have forms on DebbieLongo.com, but I'm also making a podcast webpage. Okay, just for the podcast, so they can fill out the information there, whatever they want. And I have some forms to qualify because they have to qualify to be on the shows. But regardless of all of that, they can do that. They can contact me in, multiple different ways, like I said. And then I will give them, like I was saying, we'll have a consultation, one or two or whatever. And then they'll fill out some surveys, whatever they're going to fill out, whatever I give them, depends on the situation. And I tailor make a plan, an outline for them to set. They're going to say, okay, I want to accomplish this, or this is my goal, or my company is losing sales and profits, or, I'm not going to the gym enough, or, I'm not
Right.
losing weight, I'm not eating right, different things. And, the other thing too is that, did you ever hear of you are what you eat? You
Oh,
know,
absolutely.
that's really true. That's really true. Because if I eat something, and this has to do with behavior, if I eat something, how do I feel? Like if I eat fast food, how do I feel after I eat fast food? If just do it, just see how you
Yeah.
feel. If I
Yeah.
have a salad, right? If I have a salad with all kinds of stuff in it, vegetables and all kinds of things, how do I feel after I eat that salad? Is there a difference between the two? And maybe you did it, you've done it, so but not everybody's done it. I'm just giving an example, right?
You
So,
you nailed it.
so
You nailed it for
right,
that. Do
right,
I eat fast food? No. But will I have some fried chicken sometimes at a party if it's there? Yeah. Is it good in the moment and tastes delicious? Hell, yes, it does. But how do I feel 2 hours later? Oh my God. Right? My gut's gonna explode and it's a very uncomfortable feeling. So you're absolutely right. I like kind of that challenge. Okay, do something positive. How do you feel? Like eat the salad. Go get the salad. You can go the same day at McDonald's if you want. Go to McDonald's, get the salad. Go get the number one Big Mac. Eat the whole thing, including your fries and your soft drink. How the hell do you feel after that compared to both? But you went to the same place, so I love that. I think that's a great example of what to do. So let
yeah,
me just help out some people here as far as your social is kind of specific here. So when you go to LinkedIn, it's not just Debbie Longo because other Debbie Longos might pop up. So make sure you go.
ECB,
Yeah,
yeah,
Debbie
it's
Longo, Life in Bloom. That's what I looked up, and it popped you up on LinkedIn. And
right,
then on Instagram, it's
ECB,
Debbie.life.in.bloom also. So again, make sure
okay,
you have that Life in Bloom for there.
Instagram,
And
right?
yeah, on the Instagram. So just those are little things that we look up and we'll see a Debbie Longo go, was that the right one or not? Let me connect. Like, oh, that's not exactly what she does. So just some details for that for everybody out there that wants to follow you and hopefully get in touch with you. So as we wrap this up, is there anything else that you want to share with the listeners?
No, I think that the parent company is Life in Bloom NY for New York. I'm not in New York anymore, as you said in the beginning. That's the parent company, but I'm promoting my name because that's what I'm supposed to do. So I do what I'm told. So that's, the brand, right? My brand is my name, Debbie Longo.
Yes.
So that's fine.
Yes.
So that's what I'm doing. So either way, I think that it would be a good suggestion for you, the listener, to write something down that's negative, a few things, at the end of the night, and, try to make a commitment to turn that positive thing around, and also listen to what people are saying around you, and what are you doing that's negative? What are they telling you that you're doing that upsets them, or they don't
Right.
like you for some reason, or they don't want to be around you, or you just irritate them? And listen to that and think, is that really true? And I don't really care if you think it's true or not, but they told you. So most likely it is. You know, you know.
I
So
love it. I
So
love it.
regardless of that, am I going to do something about that? Can I try maybe to just open up and say, um, uh, is there any way that I could improve this? Even if I don't believe it, because like I said, if somebody told me, then, most likely it's true. And even if it's not, you're still doing something to improve your life anyway. I
Right.
mean, people just don't go around saying negative stuff like, I can't stand you. I don't want to be around you for no reason.
Right.
You know,
Very
right.
reason.
There's a
There's a
reason.
reason.
So, right.
Awesome.
And that's what I'm saying. And it's you. If you point the finger and say it's the other person, then you're only hurting yourself. You're not doing anything to help yourself because you're going to turn around and continue that behavior with somebody else and somebody else and somebody else. Did you ever hear of people say, oh, I say, oh, congratulations, you got married. They say, yeah, that's my future ex-wife.
Yeah. That how you set it up. How you set it up. Set it up for the positive. All right, Debbie. Well, thank you very much for being on the show today. And we look forward to looking up your socials and getting in touch with you. So appreciate it very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Welcome. You're welcome. So this is Matt Peel with the Peel podcast. As always, you can check out my book if you haven't read it yet, The Athlete in the Game of Life, available on Amazon, on Kindle, in audiobook if you like my silky voice, and also in paperback. So go check that out. You can also head to my website, mattpeel.com. So until next time, this is Matt Peel with the Peel Appeal podcast. I will talk with you later.
Are you ready to get in the game? Get personal help, sign up for our newsletter, and pick up your copy of Athlete in the Game of Life, the book, all at mattpeel.com. Thanks for listening.